Welcome to the short guide on library values and ethics. In the video, we will discuss what are the ethical values of library work, why do they matter, and what do they mean in practice. The IFLA UNESCO Public Library Manifesto states that services of the public library are provided on the basis of equality of access for all, regardless of age, race, sex, religion, nationality, language, or social status. And this equity of access theme is something we will see come out in the three authors we're going to discuss. The first set of values comes in the 5 Laws of Library Science by S.R. Ranganathan. The 5 laws state books are for use, for every reader his or her book, for every book its reader, save the time of the reader, and a library is a growing organism. Now, what these mean in practice? Books are for use is relatively straightforward. Libraries have significant collections of materials for people to use, and we really should be trying to make sure as many people use them as possible. For every reader his or her book reflects the fact that a wide population should have a wide range of interests, and it's up to us to make sure that we cater for as many of those interests as we possibly can. For every book its reader, a rather short and deceptive statement. Within that law of library science, we're looking at issues like censorship. We need to remember that every book has a potential reader, and that we should not be looking to censor materials or restrict access to materials unless it's absolutely necessary. Save the time of the reader relates to the processes and procedures that we have in place. So, better cataloguing classification, better access, and things like better membership procedures. Lastly, a library is a growing organism reflects the fact that knowledge is ever growing, and that new material is being produced all the time, and that libraries should reflect this growing knowledge. The next author we will discuss is D.J. Foskett. His famous speech, which was turned into a pamphlet, was called The Creed of a Librarian. Now, the subtitle of the speech was No Politics, No Religion, No Morals. Now, in actual fact, what Foskett was saying in the pamphlet and speech was that librarians should have all politics, all religion, and all morals. Foskett states, a librarian must be the reader's alter ego, immersed in his politics, his religion, and his morals. He goes on to state, if we could become enthusiastically involved with the programme of a particular reader and still remain outside the narrow limits of his special interest, we can very often bring to bear a keener sense of perspective than he has himself. Now, what Foskett means by that is, if we can, when we're serving users, be aware of their range of interests, be aware of their politics, their morals, and their religion, then we can often bring to bear with them some advice on alternative views. Now, this is the very definition of neutrality when we're dealing with people. We can make them aware of a range of different viewpoints that they may not be aware of themselves. The third author we're going to discuss is Michael Gorman and our enduring values. Gorman stated 8 enduring values: stewardship, service, intellectual freedom, equity of access, privacy, literacy and learning, rationalism, and democracy. Now, stewardship is a clear one. Libraries collect materials and they make them available for the populations both in the now and in the future. Service means that we give the best possible service to all the users. Intellectual freedom relates to the fact that we champion intellectual freedom. We champion access to materials and ideas as part of our profession. Equity of access, again, the theme that we've seen through all of our authors, that relates to the fact that we are there to make sure that people have access to knowledge. Privacy relates to the fact that we deal with our clients and our users and respect their privacy. Now, this is especially important when people are seeking out information. If people are looking for information related to their private life, their health, etc., now these are very private matters, so we need to make sure we deal with them in a way that respects the privacy. Literacy and learning is clearly something that librarians and library workers work towards in everything they do. By providing access to reading materials, they support literacy and learning for the whole society. Rationalism might seem like quite a controversial one, but in the book, Gorman considers rationalism both in terms of rational attitudes towards subjects, but also in how we organise materials. Now you might think, well, why is organisation of materials an issue when it comes to rationalism? But library classification systems are obviously man-made, and prejudices can be inherent in how we organise materials. So it's important that when we're classifying materials, that we make sure that we're doing so in a way that reflects what those materials are. An example of this could be, for instance, the debate between evolution and intelligent design. A question could be, should a book on intelligent design be alongside a book on evolution on a library shelf? Now, regardless of your viewpoint, you may say yes or no, but a rational approach might suggest that intelligent design is religion rather than science. And it's those kind of debates that are at the heart of the rationalism option. Lastly, democracy. For Gorman, libraries support democracy. By their very existence, they provide access to knowledge, so they help create active citizens who are better placed to take their place in a democratic society. Just to finish off, from a quote from Andrew Carnegie. Carnegie said, "There is not such a cradle of democracy upon the earth as a free public library. This republic of letters, where neither rank, office, nor wealth receives the slightest consideration." If there is one core value, I think, that reflects what librarians and library workers do, it's providing that access. The public library is a social equaliser. It does not discriminate, and it should not discriminate. It treats every user equally. And this is such an important value that I sometimes think that we lose it. There are very few organisations in society that provide access to information in the way that public libraries do. And for any library worker, we have to always remember that what we do has massive value for society. Public libraries and public library workers matter. The ethical values of those workers matter. By providing access to information and knowledge to everyone in the community, we provide a vital function for a democratic society. And all workers should be aware of the ethical values that predominate within the profession.